Hello class, welcome to our online day. Today we're going to be learning about math sequences. And today's day is called What's the Rule? And with our sequencing, we're also going to learn some social emotional ways of learning. And that includes talking with each other, collaborating with each other, which is a little hard online, but we're going to find a way to do it. So first let's figure out how to sequence and what sequencing is. So sequencing is very similar to a pattern, and if you can't see this very well, I have a file right under this video connected in the module that shows you on your own screen what these things say. So a pattern is something that repeats or happens in a predictable way. It can be sound, it can be different things, but a sequence is a pattern that happens with numbers and that does not end. So usually it has this ... at the end. That means there's more to it. It does not end. It's kind of infinite. So this is a sequence right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And of course, we all know that that's just counting. That's how we understand counting to be. So a rule is something that describes how a pattern or sequence works. So the rule for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is just numerical order. We know that this pattern is the pattern of numbers that we learn. And another possible rule, because sometimes there can be more than one possible rule. Another possible one is that you're just adding 1 to the number before it. So you add 1 to 1, you get 2. You add 1 to 2, you get 3, and so on. So now we're going to try this. So Nearpod, the app that we're using for this, is going to pause the video and have you answer this question. What do you think comes next? We have 1 triangle, then 2 triangles, then 2 triangles again, then 3 triangles, 3 triangles, and then actually got cut off here, but there's another 3 triangles. So what do you think is going to happen after that? So go ahead and answer the question now. Okay, so let's kind of look at this together. So here I have drawn this without the last 3 triangles. And so what we're trying to do is find the pattern that happens between these numbers so that we can decide what's going to happen next. And so you can guess all sorts of things, like from here to here, you're adding 1, or you're multiplying by 2. From here to here, you're just multiplying by 1, you're adding 0. So these aren't necessarily similar. So sometimes you have to look at it a different way. And one way we can look at it is this is 1 triangle 1 time. So 1 x1, saying 1 time. This is 2 triangles 2 times. And then when we get over here, this is 3 triangles. Sorry, upside down. 3 triangles 3 times, knowing that there's one more here that was not pictured. And so we're starting to see this pattern that it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 times. So then we can kind of guess what's going to happen next. So if you said that there would be a group of 4 times, that would be the correct answer. So then we're going to try to decide what is the rule that describes the sequence. So go ahead and answer that question on Nearpod. Okay, so we kind of talked about it right beforehand. But the rule is it is x, meaning the number that happens to be before it, x many times, counting in numerical order. So sometimes you might have to write a long explanation for the rule, but the idea is just like, what pattern are you following? Sometimes it's not a simple word. So for this one, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, but you're showing the 1, and you're putting that number however many times that number is, if that makes sense. Let's try with a different one that's just numbers. So finish this sequence on your pod now. That is 1, 2, 4. What's the next number? Go. Okay, so now let's see what patterns we can find between these numbers. So from 1 to 2, you can add 1, or you can multiply 1 times 2. So sometimes it's just best to list everything that could possibly happen between 2 numbers so we can find out the pattern. Between 2 and 4, you can't add 1, so that's out. but you can multiply by 2. So that leads us to think that the rule is what? All right, if you answered multiply by 2, you would be correct. So that means our next number should be 8. All right, now you're going to go on the very next thing on the module, which is a discussion board, and you're going to answer the question that the discussion board has, say what is next in the sequence and what rule you think it is, and make sure you're responding to some of your classmates and talking about what you think is right or what you think is wrong. Really argue your point, but in a very respectful manner. Thank you.